The question was asked about collaboration between teacher aides and teachers. So as I mentioned, our setting may be a little different to yours, where we do have what we call collaborative education teams that work in each of our classrooms. So we are very fortunate because our teacher aides do have the opportunity to be involved in all planning and all meetings and really feel that sense of involvement with that process. So we're very keen to make sure that that collaboration is happening, that there is a team approach, and that comes down to the communication between all of the stakeholders. And from that, we can create that really supportive learning environment. So that involves creating those opportunities for the exchange of information and strategies and updates on student progress. I know that in some settings that is difficult, so it's looking for those ways that you might be able to achieve that goal. Having that shared understanding of how to create a supportive and inclusive learning environment. And we spend a lot of time really clearly defining our roles and responsibilities so that our teacher aides know the expectations and they're able to work really closely with their teachers to support the students in their classes. So some of the ways that looks like in our setting. So our meeting notes, we make a real effort to make sure that they're all typed up, that everyone involved in being a stakeholder for that student has the ability to not only attend the meeting, but also access those meeting notes following the meeting. They're shared via email or they're shared on our student document files, so they're accessible. If you don't have the time that is allowed in your day to be attending those meetings, then that may be an opportunity to ask for access to those types of documents, but I understand there are constraints in some settings to do that. Our teachers have a weekly plan that also is available to our teacher aides, so at any point our teacher aides are able to go into that weekly plan, which is what's pictured on the right there. They know the learning that's happening in the classroom, they're supported with what resourcing they need to get ready, the differentiation of which areas each student is being supported at and what level of curriculum, but all of that's openly shared. So planning that our teachers do is accessible to our teacher aides. I talked about the roles and responsibilities being really important that everyone's clear on what they are. So our statement on the left there is our role description, where we look at, this is one for, we call them education support officers in our setting. So our ESOs know what their role is and what their responsibilities and duties are. We then translate that into what we call a working agreement. So the partners in that classroom, the teacher and the teacher aide, spend some time at the start of the year and then revisit it through the year. And you can see some of the topics there. So they actually define for each other what the roles are, what the tasks are, what they're going to work on together. And they also unpack with each other, what will decision making look like for us as a team? How will we communicate and share information? What are some ways that we can support each other with signs that we might be fatigued or stressed? How are we going to resolve conflict if there are some difficulties that come up through the year? We also look at our token economy system, or how we're going to bring in those positive reinforcements and anything else we think might be beneficial. That's all about making sure that we're working together, that we can make those decisions, and it's a shared understanding. And it's a great document to revisit if at any time we hit a bit of a speed bump with our teaching partner or teacher aide, we can revisit that.
And talking to that working in agreement, being in an environment where you may not have those structures or those times to sit down and do that, or you may work with a number of different teachers, just coming up with some simple questions that you could ask your teacher next time you see them. How do you want me to support when this happens? Or do you want me to make a decision around when we can take a movement break? So even just having a couple of questions for yourself that you could go in and ask the teacher will provide you a little bit more guidance around those roles and responsibilities without having a whole document behind you.
And it then gives you the autonomy to make those decisions because it's something you've already discussed with the teacher and you've agreed upon, and you'll feel much more empowered to complete your role and fulfill your role within that classroom.